Hello everybody. I'm very happy to be today at 3DEXPERIENCE Forum. On March 11 this year, COVID has been declared a pandemic. A period of uncertainty has plunged our lives, our livelihoods, into a crisis. It's been the first time in modern history that countries had to ask their citizens to stay home, stop traveling, maintain physical distance to preserve the health of families, colleagues, friends. In April, 91% of the world population lived in countries that forbid the entry of non-residents. COVID has changed our world. It has probably changed it forever. Very busy cities like New York or Paris were empty from one day to the others. Now we are entering a new phase. We are progressively deconfining, and build back better becomes a new motto. Build back better because the world will be different post-COVID, because the effect of this pandemic will be lasting one. You know the figures. We are talking double-digit decrease in production, in sales, in increase of employment. And today, as we are progressively deconfining and reconvening our businesses, I'd like to ask you 3 questions. How did you think you managed during COVID? Are you ready to transform, to perform better in the new normal world? Do you know how to become more resilient and therefore be prepared for the next crisis? These 3 questions correspond to what I'd like to discuss with you today. And first, how to operate in a crisis like COVID. In the 21st century, we have never seen a crisis of this amplitude. And when it happens, as industry leaders, there are really 2 things, 2 imperatives we should consider. Ensure the survival of our company and contribute to the safeguard of the economy. And to ensure the survival of our company, there are 5 actions. Our first priority should be to protect our employees. And here we really have 2 situations. Either we absolutely need to have our employees coming to the factory, coming at the office, because the work can only happen there. And here we have to do everything possible to guarantee that they will be able to do that in safe conditions. And it's possible. There are airflow simulation, COVID propagation simulation, and air conditioning simulations that you can do thanks to Dassault Systèmes solution that allow you to make sure that your employees are safe or to take the right measures if the simulation show that the COVID can propagate in your facilities. And here you see on that video the example of an hospital in France. Second situation, you can also try to empower your employees to work from home. And this is possible thanks to cloud solution. During confinement, Dassault Systèmes has made all of solutions available on the cloud in order for companies to continue to work during lockdown. For example, ACA, an engineering services company, has been able to empower its teams to do so, and they have been able to continue working without disruption. Second priority that you have to have during a confinement or a COVID crisis is maintaining financial health. COVID has affected the liquidity of many of our companies. Less revenues, more cost, customers deferring purchases. And in order to take decisions, you need to build scenario. And to build scenario, you need to have all the weak signal about the consumer demand, about your supplier, about what's happening into the market. For that, there are data analytics solutions that allow you to be aware of what's really happening. And there are also digital tools that allow you to do all your finance scenario in order to take the right decision at the right time and be able to look for new customers or renegotiate your loans or find new suppliers. And of course, to maintain your financial health, you should, as much as possible, push for your sales and marketing online. COVID has proven that sales could continue online. In Italy, in March, online sales have increased by 80%. There is no reason you cannot also continue to sell online, or you cannot at least keep the connection with your customers. And you can do that with high quality assets, like the ones that have been done by Peugeot for TS, and that allow to create the link with the customers, or the one of Bernardo in Home and Lifestyle. Fourth priority is to screen and safeguard your supply chain. What we have experienced during COVID is that disruption on one supplier could just stop the production of the complete facilities. In some industry, companies have large and complex supply chains that stretch across continents and include hundreds or thousands of vendors. Until now, our companies had little insight about supply issues. During a COVID crisis, it becomes essential to know where the weak points are. And this again, you can do thanks to digitalization, thanks to data analytics, and thanks to powerful solver like Quintic, which is allows to optimize all supply opportunities and bring you the right supply at the right moment. This is a choice that has been made by the Jumbo supermarket, and they guaranteed their supply thanks to that. And fifth priority is to help the ecosystem. In a crisis of this amplitude, there will not be one single winner. Economy will reconvene only if enough of us manage to survive. And in order for that to happen, we have to make sure to help our ecosystem. This is what we did at Dassault Systèmes by making sure all of our solutions were available on the cloud for our customers to be able to continue to work with their employees at home. Or when we develop virtual classroom for teachers to be able to continue to give their classes to children at home. Or when we develop an app to monitor the symptoms of COVID to help health professionals to know more about the disease. These are the 5 priorities that we have to take into account in a crisis like COVID. And now that we kind of survived the confinement, and that we are progressively deconfining, it's not over yet. It's the beginning of a new phase. It's the beginning of what we call the new normal. And here, well, we're facing different challenges, but important challenges. First, restart our business. All of you know that. It's finally not so difficult to close a factory or a plant, but reopening is another challenge. You have to decide which machine should go first. How should you perform with 40, 50, 60% of your team only? Well, there is a way. There is a virtual twin way. If you have the virtual twin of your facility, you can run many scenarios of the best possibilities to reopen your plant in order to take the right decision and to reconvene business in the smoother way. There is another thing you should do. We're all going to reconvene business with less employees. At Dassault Systèmes, we had to begin with only 25% of our teams on the campus. And well, in that case, we need our teams to be able to perform more differently. They need to be able to do their job, but also the job of their colleagues as well. And in that case, they have to be upskill very quickly. And again, there is a good way. There is a 3DEXPERIENCE way. We have made sure to make available online a lot of learning experiences in order for professionals to upskill quickly on design, on additive manufacturing, on production. You can make sure that your teams are ready when they come back. And coming back to the supply chain. During COVID, we manage our disruption as much as we can. But returning to business means that we probably have to rethink our supply chain. We have to rebuild it in order to make it resilient. Our supply chain were based on just-in-time and very short inventory. But crisis of this amplitude proves that it might not be the right solution. The right solution might be to foster alternatives and make sure that for crucial components, you'll be able to use additive manufacturing to produce them in terms of crisis. It's about digitalizing everything to make sure that whatever happens, if a country is closed, if a supplier is not able to perform you always have an alternative. And Quintic with digital solution allow you to do that. And last but not least, in the new normal, we know that contact limited economy will stay as a reality. And contact limited economy means three different things. It means that e-commerce will continue to be very important, and therefore you should push for your sales on e-commerce. It also means that you might need or you might have less employees able to come to work, and therefore you have to work out how to better automate and only equip humans for very crucial work. And last but not least, we have to be prepared to work in a contact-limited economy. As I mentioned before, e-commerce has increased by 80% in March in Italy. It's gonna stay the norm. Italy has not seen any decrease in the sales online. And we also have to prepare to be able to work with less people in our factories. And it means more automation. And last but not least, we also have to be more careful about our people. And this is possible thanks to telemedicine, which has developed a lot during COVID. And good news is, with the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, you can unlock unlimited value in all I just described. You can have the right data analytics with the platform, can visualize them to take the right scenario, decide how to make your supply chain more resilient, produce differently with additive manufacturing, thanks to the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. So we have the solution to help you go through this new normal phase and make sure that it's transformed into a success. But as long as it's important to go through that phase successfully, there is something else which is important. It's preparing to be resilient. COVID crisis came at a particular moment, but we have no reasons to think that COVID crisis is the last crisis we will ever have. We have to learn to be resilient. And the good thing about resilience is that there is not one way to be resilient. There are many ways. And all of those ways are linked to innovation and sustainability. And in order to do that, there are again three things that we have to take into account. First, we have to be realistic. Paradigm has changed. Let's look at aerospace industry, an industry that we love at Dassault Systèmes. In 2019, aerospace challenges were all about production increase, getting more planes out of the factory. Here, in 2020, the paradigm is different. It's about rebuilding consumer confidence. It's about ensuring that the planes are going to be safe. It's about driving costs down and develop sustainable planes. A lot of the government plans are linked to the sustainability of the aerospace industry. And the second thing to become more resilient is to become more sustainable. Because if we look at transportation and mobility, where we expect 70% drop in sales in 2020, some businesses managed to go on during the crisis. Some companies managed to be still successful. For example, Canoe. Canoe is very interesting. They're not selling cars. They're selling mobility as a service and green mobility as a service because you pay for hours of mobility in an electric car. Because they have a different business model, they use cloud solution, for example, and therefore they transform their CapEx into OpEx. They've continued to work successfully and still be growing during COVID. And sustainability is going to be key. Sustainability in three aspects. Sustainability because we are bringing people at the center of the business model. creating consumer confidence and consumer experience. Sustainability with innovative business model. We are talking as a service business model rather than ownership business model. And last but not least, sustainable operation, resilient supply chain, sustainable factory, where additive manufacturing can compensate when a supplier cannot bring what you need into the factory. And well, again, the good news is with the 3D Experience platform, you can create this kind of business model. With the 3D Experience platform as a system of operation, you can create more efficiently, design more quickly, produce differently, and be more efficient. With the 3D Experience platform as a business model, you can create the business model that will be necessary for you to be the winner of a resilient economy. In a nutshell, we are going through very difficult times right now. We have never gone through a disruption of this amplitude. But this crisis can also be seen as an opportunity to rethink what we do, an opportunity to perform better, an opportunity to build back better, hoping for the best, prepared for the worst, and unsurprised by anything in between. Thank you.